time no see everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody but you, Joe.
I had them put you as far away from me as they possibly could.
Right, good thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you, but not for
They barely throw anything that far.
Oh, okay.
Not more.
I thought I saw him, that's why I didn't. Maybe you want me to. You have it.
Yeah, if you can.
Alright.
It's the January 16, 2020 meeting.
Riley's still here.
No.
I think it's
How many?
nominated.
6, 10?
They're going.
Pardon?
How many do we need?
Do
Look crazy
five.
for a while,
5?
or
Yeah.
now, all of it, all
I'm
of it,
just still learning,
yeah.
you know, I'm still pretty young.
Sure, when we're ready when you are.
We got enough?
Yeah, we've got a quorum. I don't see, Mr. Nielsen yet though, so, if you wanna wait for him, that's certainly no problem.
I'm still reading
Is there anything in the works for that little piece right south of Strasser's, north of the grocery store?
Got a couple calls on it. Nothing concrete yet.
That little, what is it, acre and a half, or whatever it is, right south of Dave?
North side,
Between
countryside.
Dave and the grocery store?
Davey.
Directly south of Dave and Strasser.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, yeah. I know.
I'm sorry, we're having a meeting, actually, the office is closed, it closes at 5:30. So the door's open because we have meetings going on.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
no problem.
I didn't see him.
I would say probably 2 calls in the last month and a half, about that one.
Oh, you got some.
I got some.
Good for you.
Now, you remember this, they were gonna put concrete in that shed that they built and stuff. Brand new ordinance. It would be the July 25th.
Some poor old guy was out there wanting to make a payment. I'm like, sorry, we're closed.
July 20th. You
Yeah,
got it?
we're close during the day too.
Right.
You know, right?
You can drop it in the box. That'll work.
I think you want.
Excellent.
I've got an application here for you from home.
Oh, good. We've got 2 other ones I got dropped off today too.
Do you?
Yeah.
He's in, Wisconsin seeing his girlfriend, so he did it online. I'm pretty impressed that he knew how to do it, like he signed it electronically and everything. He's like,
These
she's
kids, I think all of mine,
They built
maybe 3 came in by
oversized.
email and were signed
So it's
to,
gotta have.
electronic
They said,
signature.
well, we're gonna put concrete to the,
Makes sense.
It does make sense.
they never have. You know what I
He's like,
mean?
are we gonna get to rec little kid baseball this summer? I'm like, I think so, sounds like it. He's like, oh, have you talked to Maris about that? I don't know, cause last year that's who did it, but who's gonna this year, you know?
I would bet it's gonna be yours.
Yeah, probably.
I figure all that out is.
Okay,
How's it going?
yeah.
Okay, I'll call the meeting. Okay. Where is the agenda here? Is there any additions to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
Okay, do I need an approval of the agenda as listed?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Joey, seconded by Nikki. All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Visitors to be heard, do we have any? None. Minutes of the January 16th, 2020 regular meeting, I need an approval of that.
Move to
approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now the new business is countryside subdivision preliminary plat. You all have it in front of you, I think.
Should have a small copy of it in front of you. I'm gonna, if you have any questions, I'm putting it on the screen above as well, so you can see a little bit better. This is the work of, really a few months in the coming. The city has been working with Kelly Nielsen and his engineer over at Gerhard Griffin, and come up with this preliminary plan. So this is probably the fourth, I think, draft of this, the final that finally got approved by the zoning administrator, which is me, and the city engineer, which is Mitch Mergen. Complies with all of the requirements of the newly adopted subdivision regulations and design standards that are required to this point. So if you have any specific questions, we can go through this map by map. It's pretty much self-explanatory for the most part. I think some of the concerns that we have going into this project are gonna be around roadway design, around drainage, and grading and those kinds of issues. It's a big project, and making sure that everything is going where we need it to go, I think is gonna be an important part of this project, especially considering the poor drainage along Boynton Avenue. Mitch will be talking about most of this here in a couple minutes. He's joining us.
Getting you out of the hot seat.
Yeah. But overall, the plan is a really great start at what we need to be going towards here, so. Just as a reminder, all the infrastructure is installed by the developer, Nielsen Construction, so storm sewer, sanitary sewer, water, streets, so on and so forth. That's all installed by the developer at their cost. It is repaid through that TIF district that was approved by Lincoln County last month, and then again approved through our developers agreement last month as well. Mitch, do you want to talk about any specific sheets here?
No, I didn't have anything specific, I was just, in case you guys had questions, I just wanted to make myself available. But the street sections that they're proposing are, meet the new standards that we put in place not that long ago. We did kinda have some conversation about the thickness of the base sections that are gonna be under there. And what they're proposing to do is have a geotechnical person test the soils out there, so they make sure they get that designed to what the soils out there will support. They haven't done that work of it yet, but they'll be working on that in that first phase. But if you want, if you thumb through this, that, when you start at page 2, these are general notes that we asked them to address with the project. And there's certain things in there, we wanna make sure there's no hidden costs that we don't know about, or things that they're gonna come back and ask for reimbursement on, so that's something I always have them address inside there. We wanna make sure that there's an understanding of who's gonna own and maintain the facilities. Obviously, the streets on most subdivisions, the developer builds them and turns them over to you guys for maintenance. We do get some subdivisions where they might have, a gated community or something like that, where they would do private streets. So that's kind of what that section is for. We talk about wetland mitigation. They do have some wetlands up there that they'll have to, they're gonna propose to fill in and mitigate them off-site, so they'll be paying some fees there to the Corps of Engineers to be able to do that. So they've noted that in the plans. Floodplain, well, in this area, we don't really have much, we don't have to worry about the floodplain so much there. So that's really not, a concern at this point. There were some things, I don't know if we talked about Juniper Street and, access to Highway 17 on the north side. There's a little gap there that they have to, there's probably 30 feet, I think, that Strassers, I think,
Yep.
still own.
About 30 feet of
So, yeah,
private ground between where Milwaukee Avenue would end and where Highway 17 would start. So the developer is going to work with that property owner and access completed.
Yep.
So it's the street going east, the
On
very
the
end.
north side.
On the north end, you see Milwaukee labeled.
Yeah, I did, I was wondering.
And you can actually see that little gap there on where it meets Highway 17. So they, for whatever reason, they kept that 30 feet or so when this was platted out years and years ago.
Actually, when I was looking at this, I was thinking that, like, right where Milwaukee's gonna come out is where we go down to like 45. Are we gonna move, like, maybe that speed limit out a little bit? And
If
I
this,
always thought that it should have slowed down kind of by Goldman's anyways,
Little
like
further
sometimes, I mean, that's pretty, you're calling and, you know, and somebody's pulling out of Goldman's with a trailer or something like that, I mean, it's
yeah.
kind of a scary area coming over that hill anyways, but then when I saw where Milwaukee was coming out, I was like,
Yeah,
it'd be
it'll,
like people pulling out in 65-mile-an-hour traffic, you know, I mean, like,
it'll inevitably change over
Okay.
time. As the more access points you add, the more then you can start reevaluating the speed limits on these corridors.
That's-
yeah.
The state will do that.
Yeah. What else? We talked about Juniper Street. Right now, the developers, well, you've had conversations with them on the portion of Juniper Street from the south end of their property to Boynton.
Yeah,
It's not within their limits. I think you've been talking about adding that to the project.
Yeah, it is included in the TIF district itself, so it is an allowable cost, under the reimbursement for that TIF. So we would prefer that, the developer complete that simply because it's cheaper than us going out, bidding it out, and going through that whole process when, you know, if they're already on site to have them complete that project.
so he would complete it, we would pay him.
It would be reimbursable under the TIF agreement.
So
Okay.
Juniper to Boynton is being paid for with the TIF, we're not gonna end up paying.
Right now, it's included in the TIF district. We're trying to work out with the developer whether they're going to do it or we're going to do it. So either way, it's included in the TIF
Well, it's
district.
not gonna cost the taxpayers any more money outside of the TIF.
No, you should not. Now, if we decide to go further south, 'cause that intersection on Juniper and Boynton needs some help. So if we would go further south and fix that at the same time, that would then be on the city.
It might not be a bad idea.
Right. I just think that both valleys across that intersection have degraded quite a bit over the last couple of years. You know, in terms of how much water flows through there, it may make sense to do that at some point. And connected to that project would make sense.
Something needs to be done.
There's a note again on page 2 just about sump pump systems. We did have a conversation of whether we wanted to try to implement sump pump systems. Right now, that system's not planned into this. That would be something that if the city wanted to require a sump pump system, might still be able to get it funded under the TIF, but it would be could end up being a city project, could be end up, that still needs to be worked out, I guess.
That stuff that'll be handled in the private developers agreement between the city and the developer. You know, who's going to complete which portions of the work.
So right now, you're gonna drain to the street like a lot of places in town.
Yes.
Your front yards will, your backyards will probably go to a channel system of some sort.
Somewhere,
Yeah, it'll be graded,
but there'll be a lot of inlets anyhow, correct?
there will be in the streets, it's the backyard sometimes that you
That you have trouble with.
yeah, if you don't have a lot of,
Especially in those interior lots.
yeah, there's not a lot of grade change out there, then it can get challenging that way, but we're actually just looking through the grading plan that they put together now, so we're kind of evaluating that right now in the drainage calcs.
So, did you did these plans, is that correct?
What?
Who developed these plans?
Gerhard Griffin,
Yeah.
the developer's engineer.
And they didn't think of putting a sump pump system in?
It's not required.
We don't-
right now.
It's not in our ordinance, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not. Which isn't to say that we don't want it. I think, we certainly had a lot of benefit from it. And I think there's an argument to make that, regardless of whether it's the developer or the city that does that, I think there's a benefit to us making that happen. I would think that there's room in the estimate for that TIF that we'd be able to make it work. So, it's really down to figuring out the math of it. In terms of drainage, you mentioned, storm drains, so on and so forth. Sheet 9, I believe, is where that plan starts. And I'll give you a decent idea of direction of flow. And I believe storm sewer inlets are on there as well. So sheet 9 and sheet 10.
Yeah, and one place I would just point out on the drainage, with the preliminary plan, you're just asking for general, how they're gonna handle the water. This isn't the full-blown drainage
Basic,
calcs,
yeah.
Right.
all the heavy engineering that goes into that, so that's what they're doing now, and we're already at kind of the next step of engineering submittals. They've submitted, the grading plan and the drainage plans to us, so that we can start evaluating them. Cause I think they are looking to get a grading permit as soon as they can for Ellsworth. There's a note on open space contributions. They're meeting you guys' standards by proposing to dedicate that green space. I'm not sure exactly which, shows up on sheet 7. So the areas that are green would be public spaces. Some of them utilized for, detention. And that, so if you see the zone, what's it labeled here? That big zone A is a big green area with some blue inside there. The blue represents probably a detention pond within that.
So in the green space, is that, I mean, are we gonna put anything in there for like a park?
Yeah,
Park equipment?
we don't have any requirements for the developer to put equipment in there. We have a requirement for them to dedicate the land. Maybe your building permit has some fees that goes towards park systems, I'm not sure.
I don't believe it does. I think it makes a lot of sense to put park equipment in both the eastern and the southwestern area. Now, which one of those you start with, I don't know. But connecting it to our trail system, I think would be ideal, as would having some playground equipment. I mean, that's a trek to get down to the main playground equipment at Western, so. Our expectation is that in future years, we would have to either get a grant or appropriate some dollars towards park equipment at that location.
And we wanted to make sure we had good access to it, so that you'll see there's a finger that comes off that green area out to, what road is that, Independence Street.
Yep.
And so we got good access to it. That's the higher end of that green space, so there should be some area that's out of that detention area that'd be well suited for some playground equipment in there. Even on the west end, this butts up to the whole railroad right away that the city owns, so that we're expecting that to become a greenway of sorts for a rec trail continuation. So you also see a sliver of green there that comes off of that nearest road, looks like
Juniper.
McCormick Street.
Yep.
And so there's a sliver of green there to give us access, so people can get from the subdivision onto that greenway through that side yard. A couple other notes just on sheet 2 that I was looking at. Sanitary sewer systems, we did have a conversation about all the drains to the lift station that's along Highway 17, just north of the tracks there. We do need to evaluate that lift station a little bit. We feel it can handle most of this, and not quite certain it can handle all of it. So it might require some upgrades to that lift station. And so they've noted that in here. If there are any upgrades, that would again be qualified under the TIF, probably be a city project that would end up being. And that's,
So upgrades would be bigger pumps or?
yeah.
Pumps.
Yep. So that's spelled out in this document too, so that everybody has the same
Everybody knows.
understanding. Streetlight systems, I know we were working with Excel, the developer's working with Excel to understand how that's gonna come together. As I understand, if the city decides to upgrade any, right now you have the the standard pole out there is probably gonna be a wood direct buried pole. If the city ever wanted to upgrade to aluminum or fiberglass, I'm not sure exactly what options they have, but that would probably be something that the city would take on maintenance wise and expense wise.
The expense would be on this, the expense for the upgrade would be on the city, the maintenance would still be, the responsibility of Excel,
And I think right now we're not anticipating upgrading anything.
not at this point.
Would that be more of the city, or would it be the development wanting to upgrade?
I guess I've seen, if the developer wants to upgrade them, you still have an agreement with Excel as a municipality to maintain them, so the city would have to be
Yeah.
okay with taking that on. But I think they've expressed to us, I don't think they have.
It doesn't sound like they have a plan to
Yeah.
up.
No, I,
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean, Kelly's here, you can speak.
No.
If I'm
the poll's
speak-
good enough, right? Well, you can.
Private utility companies, other than power, there's gas and communication lines out there as well too. So they're working on coordinating with those facilities too. I guess with that, as you flip through the sheets, you see their general layout of their street system and utilities along that with sewer and water. You feel everything meets your guys' standards at this point, so I don't know if you guys have any specific questions about it. I think that sheet 7 probably does the best job of giving you a general idea of the uses they're proposing and the street arrangement.
One note I would make on sheet 7, we're going to be drafting an ordinance that would change some additional setbacks on there, and that's noted on sheet 7, under the R2 zone. So we would adjust our ordinances to meet these guidelines instead. So similar to what we did last year on the single-family detached homes in R2, we would mirror that for the rest of the structures in R2 to the extent allowable. So, again, that, it's possible to go for a variance there, but I think this board is familiar that our ordinances make a variance very difficult to obtain. And so, if we can change those ordinances to the base requirements of the code, I think we're fine to do that yet. It doesn't require them to go that narrow, but in some areas, I think in order to get the number of lots that we need and the size of lot we need to hit that price, the correct price point for those home buyers, we need to make that happen. So that will be in front of this commission later this month as a draft ordinance for your review.
Are we looking to go more in line with what Sioux Falls has?
I think Sioux Falls is actually granting variances for these kinds of things. I know Harrisburg and T did. Our variance ordinance is just very restrictive.
Right.
So that's, I wouldn't be shocked to see those kinds of setbacks in some of the newer developments in Sioux Falls, and Mitch, maybe you can confirm that.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's more of a, our R2 zone is meant to be a bit more dense, and so it is fitting there. Once you get into the R1 zone, obviously, it's a bit more, bit different there, so.
The thing with this, with R2, people are gonna see what they're getting. You're not gonna have a lot of complaints.
No, I don't think so.
If they don't agree with what is there, they won't buy it,
Yes, the market will dictate if
Yeah,
whether
that's
that's a sellable lot or not.
I don't think.
I think in surrounding communities it has been.
I don't think it'll bother
I
too
think
many.
you'll find that they want more in their house than in their lot. They're more concerned.
Yeah, they're more
with that.
concerned about a house than,
Lawnmower.
lawn mowing. I don't blame them. Okay.
Well, I have no further comments. I don't think if there's anything else you want to cover. So this is an action item for you tonight. City Council would like to bring this up yet tonight as well. So the recommended action is to recommend approval to the City Council without amendments.
Who wants to make that move?
Nobody else to speak?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody else to speak?
Anybody else please speak? Yes.
No, I'm just asking.
This is a peanut.
Anybody else want to?
I can at least introduce myself, Kelly Nielsen. Some of you may or may not have met me from last time I was out here, but Kelly Nielsen, Nielsen Development, the one proposing the preliminary plans that are in front of you. We still have a few challenges that I just wanna make sure that we still haven't got permission from the landowner to make the north entrance crossing. I apologize if that was brought up earlier, that's still in process. Hopefully we'll be able to negotiate something out there. Other than that, just maybe making a few minor lot size revisions. The general layout should be, like Mitch had said, pretty accurate. It is still a preliminary plan. But yeah, I'm open for any questions that anybody may have as well.
So it's just 30 feet you're trying to get from Strasser's?
Yes, sir.
How
30
close is
32.
it to Maryland's driveway?
There's a creek in the way. There's a
Oh,
lake to the
yes.
north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll work with me. We'll get there. I just gotta keep negotiating some different things and
Yeah,
we'll get there. I'm
That is
optimistic.
a later phase in the project as well, so there's time to
yeah.
make that happen.
There's
Time to
quite-
soften him up a little bit.
Buy some sweet corn.
Yeah.
Well,
Talking about horses. Horses.
I'd hate to see that not go, but it
I do think-
it isn't your fault if it does.
Right. And even without that, we do have a workable plan here.
Yes.
There are, two entrance and exit points, so, even if that doesn't work out, and I'm confident it will, I think we still have a workable plan.
Okay.
Put it over there, Bill. Go talk to him.
Should talk to you. Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Nikki?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Unanimous. All right, that's all we got for tonight, ain't
Move to adjourn?
it? Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Nice set. Did you read all these? Oh, I was only gonna read them. You got a pen, Joe?
I did not.
You need one?
Forgot to bring up the